We now have another interview, this time with the Peace Art Young Leader for the Sustainable Development Goals by the United Nations, Leonardo Parraga. Leonardo is an activist who believes in the value of systemic change through sustainable peace, using his passion for the arts to inspire his non-violent resistance. He co-founded Juventes por la Paz, Amazing to build a peaceful environment in Latin America, and is currently a European Commission Youth Sounding Board member and a UNAOC Young Peace Builders Program trainer. Please welcome the incredible Leonardo Parraga. Hi, Leonardo.
Hi V, happy to see you.
Happy
Thanks
to
for the
see you
invite.
too. Thank you for joining us today for Education Live. Now, before we begin, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your life's mission?
Sure, absolutely. So as you already mentioned, I'm a young person from Colombia, and being born in this country, it gives you another perspective about life. Um, since I grew up, I was always hearing about violence. I was hearing about how there was an attack in some town in the outskirts of some important city. And there was always this narrative of war going on. There was always this narrative of people suffering and losing their lives, and this ongoing conflict that um, was always happening. And mostly I was seeing the conflict through screens, and it was a bit away from me. uh, However, that changed one day. My good friend from childhood, Albeiro, uh, he was killed in a terrorist attack. uh, and that really changed my perspective about the conflict, because it was no longer a suffering that I was seeing far away, but it was more of a suffering that I have experienced on my own. So since that moment, my perspective towards the need for peace and towards the need to transform violent conflict and make war a thing of the past for the new generations to come in our country became my main motivation. And also that seed that we can plant, that can make grow some trees of hope and some trees of peace for our country, to be in better relationship between all its inhabitants.
Wow, that is an amazing journey and mission that you have, and I'm sure it's uplifting so many listening in. It certainly is for me. And I guess I'd rather know, do you think education is doing enough to teach us about peacemaking, reconciliation, and forgiveness?
Yeah, that's a great question, V. I mean, I will answer it straightforward, and I will say no. I believe that education is mostly nowadays based a lot on having some extra content, uh, knowing about different subjects. But when it comes to social emotional learning, when it comes to how we're relating with one another, how we're solving our conflicts, the type of conversations that we're having, and how, when an issue arises, how we can tackle it in effective ways that lead to a transformation of that situation. That's not something that we are doing enough, and it's a big part of our current education system. And in that sense, I believe that we need to do more exercises where we're able to see that perhaps the conflict that we have in our minds uh, is not necessarily what we think when we start to engage in a dialogue. Just to give you an example, when I was talking with an ex-combatant here in Colombia, he was telling me about his dreams of a new country once they signed the peace agreement. And he was saying that he will wish that people in rural areas have access to education, that there were some decent job opportunities in this area. And he will wish that other young people like him, when they're growing up, they could access careers like medicine. And when I heard him mentioning this, I realized that we were basically on the same page in the type of society that we would like to have. Now, what changes the means that he pursue at some point to get to this goal. But what I believe is that if we're born in a similar context, that could be the path we choose. So I think in this type of context, what helps a lot is to have this kind of understanding and compassion, and really engaging in a conversation to know one another, and knowing that the roots of the war that we have, of this violent conflict that we have, um, they many times have a lot to do with this lack of support from the state, lack of support from the community, and young people not really seeing that they have many chances when growing up. So when we can engage in this type of discussions, and be more mindful of what type of lifestyle each one is living, that can really lead to more transformational approaches to education and how we're living our life.
You are doing so much, and I just wonder where do you draw your inspiration from to keep on going, especially with the work that you're doing, because it is very important, and I can only imagine takes up a lot of time as well.
Yeah, well, I think it's always a collective process. I mean, where we are right now is the result of having walked on the shoulders of giants, a lot of generations of people who have really committed to build peace in this country, and definitely all the role of our ancestors to improve the conditions that we have nowadays. That's a great inspiration. But also for me, one great inspiration is the generations to come. Right now, we're more than 1.8 billion young people in the world, um, and around three quarters of them live in contexts of conflict and violence. And when you think about your life and how it has unfolded, and you notice the role of being in a peaceful environment, and how much that give you access to different opportunities, that's definitely the type of legacy that I would love to leave for these new generations, that they're able to grow in a country where they don't need to worry if there's going to be a violent assault in the town where they live, but they can concentrate in further developing themselves and flourishing and growing and using their skills for the positive development of society. So really ensuring that the next generation have as many good opportunities as they can, and they can live in a peaceful environment. That's a really huge driver of mine.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think everyone here at Peace One Day shares your sentiments about people being able to live in peace. And could you tell us how people at home can find out more about your work and how they can support you in the same way that you've been supporting so many people?
Yeah, thanks, V. Yeah, they can look me up on social media as Leonardo Parraga. That's the most straightforward channel to find me, or also through the Youth Sounding Board from the European Union, the UN leaders for the SDGs, and the initiative Juventudes por la Paz in Latin America. Those are different places where I'm active, and we can find chances to collaborate. And of course, if you're up for empowering young people to be more engaged in peace, I'm more than happy to connect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leonardo, for doing an interview with us today on Education Live Day. It was so insightful hearing from you, and we appreciate it.